Hey guys, it's Vince from Team 2 to Crit, bringing you the first deck profile for the week. It's going to be on an oldie but a goodie, one of my favorite decks. Came out, way back, and just as a trial deck, and it started out, and I've picked it up and been in love with it ever since, and that's Link Joker. This will be my Chaos Universe version of the deck. I think Messiahs are a little bit more powerful than this, just because Messiah is the only bad matchup that this deck has. But let's just get into the deck profile. First, your starting Vanguard is going to be Involution Starvader Carbon. Skill is you can move him from the rearguard into the soul if your opponent has a locked card to search for any grade 1 and call it to rearguard circle from your deck. And Chaos Breakers become a lot more like a tutoring deck, a little bit toolbox with this and the Colony Makers. You just want to get your certain combo cards and your grade 1s, because your grade 1, the new grade 1 we have is probably the best card in the deck, minus the Big Daddy Chaos Breaker himself. And speak of the devil, I'm only going to be playing 3 in this build. I know it's probably really cringy to see me playing only 3, but this is the version I like, that I've built, because I play also 3 Chaos Bringer and 2 Garnet Star. I like the 3-3-2 ratio because it lets me see what I want to see when I want to see it. Basically, I'm just playing him to protect against deck out, using him to shuffle him back if I need to, or shuffle back another copy. You're always going to have the mate in the deck. If not, you shuffle a mate back as well. If you don't have to either shuffle any of those back, you can just put more crits in the deck and trigger sack, trigger sack, trigger sack. Otherwise, he swings 22 on his own. If you have a unit in the center column, he gets, or when he attacks a Vanguard, he gets +2. So if you're in Legion, it swings 22. Chaos Bringer, when you ride CB1, lock a card in the back row, as long as you CB a Starvader. And his limit break is during your opponent's main phase. If they have 2 or more locked, you CB1 and ride Big Daddy from deck. And of course, Chaos Breaker himself, CB1, ditch 1, lock 1. At the end of the turn, when something would unlock, or does unlock, Soul Blast the Starvader to retire that unit and draw a card. Deck got a whole lot more power thanks to the grade 4s, but I'm going to get to those last. So I like the 3-3-2 ratio. I think it's strong, and I don't deck out as hard as I've seen some other people. Next, obviously, 4 Photon, best Starvader ever printed. If your opponent, well, grade 2 wise, if your opponent has a locked card, you call him and immediately lock another. Since Link Joker was always a very counterblast heavy deck, you would be able, now that this is a card, you just be able to call this here and lock something up front, and you immediately just eliminate one of their attackers, and he becomes a vanilla 9k on the rearguard circle, so if you need an intercept, I'd like to just throw him out there. Otherwise, we have another version of Photon released, Iron. I switched down to 2. I was playing 4, but I switched it out for 2 copies of another card I'll get to in just a second, but Iron is, if he attacks, if you have a Chaos Vanguard, he gets plus 2,000 power, so he's an 11k beatstick. A little bit better than the Photon, because if he's on the rearguard circle, you can keep swinging with him. You probably wouldn't want to intercept because he swings for 11 on his own. Other skill is when placed, CB1, if you have a Chaos Vanguard, you get to lock one of your opponent's rearguards. The only time it's not a 11k attacker is if I have a Garnet Star on the Vanguard, which I've never really run into that issue since I'm only playing 2 now. But I was playing 4. I took out the other 2 for Starvader Mulipton. This is our new promo that's basically really similar to our boss stride. Counterblast 2, when this unit's placed, you choose an opponent's rearguard circle that's open, and your opponent must lock 1 card from their hand face down onto that circle. It fixes a problem Link Joker had where if your opponent didn't call units, you couldn't lock and you couldn't make advantage. Well, now Mulipton and your new stride forces your opponent to call units. If they're playing like Spike Brothers or Nova Grappler, they might want to conserve the resources till late game, but you're just going to cut off their front row with this in your stride and make it so that they can't attack anyway. It's a CB2 and it's an 8k, but again, it's got that whole Photon thing where once you call it, once you're done with it, toss it up in the intercept circle. Otherwise, of course, 3 Colony Maker staple since Colony Maker came out in set 12, or 13 actually. She came out 13, yeah, 13, my bad. CB1 when placed, if your opponent has a locked card and you have a Link Joker Vanguard, you search your deck for any grade 1 or less Starvader and call it to the rearguard circle. Just more tutoring, get more advantage. Chaos Breaker is nothing but a plus deck. If you just get enough pluses and overwhelm your opponent to where you make them minus from Chaos Breaker retiring their stuff, from your free advantage from this and drawing cards, it's all about just generating as much advantage as humanly possible and making your opponent shut down. Moving on to grade 1's probably the strongest card in the deck now, Turmoil Star Vader Zinc. If you have a Chaos Vanguard, you go ahead and push her in the soul from Rearguard Circle. This is an Axial, so it's main phase. You countercharge 2 and soul charge 2. It fuels both Chaos Breaker and both of his skills for you CB to discard and you soul charge. Sure, you minus 1 card, but it gives you 2 free counterblasts, which in this deck it's extremely counterblast heavy. It was a problem Link Joker always had, but this kind of solves it, where now you get a free use of Mulipton, another Colony Maker, another Iron, or if you want to use Chaos Breaker's skill himself. I love using Colony Maker to CB1, call this out, push this in, and unflip 2. Or you get a free unflip 2 if you use the starter to call him out, or her out, my apologies. It's just so good. You get more resources to do stupid stuff, just drawing into it. The only downside is I do play 1 non-Star Vader card in here. Well, 3 copies of a non-Star Vader card. If you soul charge it, you cannot soul blast it with Chaos Breaker to retire, but that's not really a huge worry. So, next, 3 Lanthanum. I was thinking of changing this to a Volt line, but I'm not really sure on that because I like the power bonus. If you have this behind, what's his name? Iron. If you lock 2 cards, you get a 22k column. When your opponent's rear guard is locked due to the effect of one of your cards, if you have a Link Joker Vanguard plus 2k. It doesn't work with Chaos Universe or with Mulipton because it's choosing a card from their hand and placing it as a locked card. It's not actually locking a card. I was thinking about changing this for Volt Line, but I'd rather have the opponent's units actually retire so I can draw some cards. And finally, the only non-Star Vader I play in the deck, 3 Destiny Dealer, because striding is super, super duper important. And finally, 4 perfect cards. Simple. And trigger count, super basic. Got 4 Paradigm Shift Dragon, 4 Polynel Dragon, my apologies, 2 Spark Doll, and 2 Meteor Liger. I'm playing 12 criticals and 4 heals. I like 12 crit. You draw in this deck on your own. You make your opponent not be able to attack you. You conserve your 10k shields in hand. You just perfect guard the Vanguard every now and then. You just build a huge hand of a ton of 10k resources. And on your triple drives, you want to hit as many crits as possible. You want to kill them. Otherwise, the Stride Zone. Right now, I have 2 Chaos Universe. This is our new boss monster, bait technically, even though it's just fuel for Chaos Breaker. Being Chaos Breaker is your official boss monster. This guy, you use him on top of Chaos Breaker to not only lock more cards, get more drive checks, get more pluses. I'm looking to play 4. I just don't know where to get any right now. I'm going to look for 2. But right now, I'm only playing the 2. It's Counterblast 1, choose a copy of himself and turn it face up. If you have a heart card with Chaos, meaning Chaos Breaker or the new Chaos guy we got that lets you Superior Ride Chaos Breaker from your deck. Oh, and this also beats Mega Colony. I don't remember if I mentioned that, but if your opponent has 2 locked cards, you can rewrite a stand, so if they stun your Vanguard, it's already standing. Anyway, yeah, choose if you have a heart card with Chaos, you choose one of your opponent's rearguard circles, open rearguard circles, and your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand, locks it on that rearguard circle, and if you have 2 G units face up, you get to lock another unit. I usually go into him first. Without playing 4, it kind of sucks because I only get to lock that 1 card, but it's from their hand, so I think it's still worth it. But if you go into him second, you can lock 1 up front, probably lock their starter, if their starter's still on the board. Otherwise, when you use him twice, your opponent loses 2 cards out of their hand, and if you have Mulipton, that's 3. Just shred their hand even more with all the crit pressure. Otherwise, probably looking at any other strides. Probably Big Crunch, I'm going to say maybe 2 of or 4 of if you're going to play 4 of this. But the only 100% necessary card is Universe because it takes cards out of their hand, which is very, very important. Alright guys, so that's day one of a week of deck profiles. Let me know what you guys think. Remember to put in the comments down below what deck profile you want to see us do, and we'll be sure to try to get to it sometime during the week. So remember to rate, favorite, comment, like, and subscribe. This is Vince from Team 2 Legit to Crit, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.